Your response to the decision to withdraw these charges?
I think we must start with the inaccuracies that you've just presented. One, I'm not the former leader. I'm currently the elected leader. Two, I'm not suspended from the ANC. I was never suspended over the last 5-6 months. Everyone said it, I was not. In order for you to be suspended, you must get a written letter. In fact, I've taken leave in consultation with the national leadership. It was like a gentleman's agreement. I said this thing must be sorted out before I actually deal with my responsibilities. And three, I think we must put it, the first story that broke was an allegation, not of harassment, it was an allegation of rape by the eNCA. And I think those are the inaccuracies that over time I felt quite hurt through the particular process. Initially it was an allegation of rape, then it was an allegation of assault, then it was an allegation of harassment. Then in what I've just heard also that she's worked for me, a PA, she's never worked for me as a PA. So I'm just giving you an insight into fact and fiction in this type of situation. Let me say how I feel, Michelle. I actually feel that not any other person in the ANC and no other person in any other political party must go through what I've gone through. It seems that it's for the very first time that anyone that has, if somebody goes and make an allegation at the police station, then there must be a proper process. At what point does innocent until proven guilty kicks in? I've been under the severe situation where people said, no, not even if there's not a court, you must still step aside. I felt injustice was done in that process to me. I've learned through that, but what I must say that I don't feel vindicated. I feel sad. I feel sad that the way I analyzed the situation was that on the 26th of December, I got an SMS, an inbox, from a comrade that says, soon you will become the biggest embarrassment. You will see what we will do with you. From that same comrade, he then goes on and say, in the 104 years. That thing happened 10 days after that message. 2 days after that incident, so-called incident, what I then got was a message, rape in Rustenburg. The fourth day, your studio ran the story, rape, allegations of rape. I think that was wrong. Secondly, on this matter as well, the person, in fact, that has sent me those messages, subsequently in January till a month ago, has at least asked 4 to 5 people, women, to try and make manufactured statements against me. So it's clear what it was. This is the person that is the secretary of the Boland ANC structure that has been found guilty in a court of law for fraud beginning last year or the year before, and still serving a suspended imprisonment sentence out in the form of Mr. Snyman. So what we are sitting with is a rot that has crept in, and what I hope is that we can get over this. We'll deal with the issue that I've just raised, but the ANC must move on. And what we must get right is that no person in any structure of a movement must be dealt with the way I've been dealt with over the last few months.
Marius, a couple of issues I want to raise with you. You talk about these allegations first starting out as rape, then moving on to assault and then harassment. Is this in the way that it was reported or by the woman who reported the incident, the alleged incident?
Yeah. Look, I'm not going to speak about what the woman has reported. That I'll not get into because I know what's fact and I know what's fiction. I'm saying the way the media, in particular the e-news, actually started to break the story from Friday, 12 o'clock on the 8th of January.
And you're saying the person behind it all is the secretary of the ANC Boland?
No, I'm saying something else. I'm saying that I've got an affidavit, a formal affidavit, that says from a confidante of this individual, of Snyman, that says that he has told them that this is what they've done to me. So that I've got. Sworn affidavit. What I further have is the fact that after January, the same individual have sent different people try and manufacture affidavits, similar stuff. And what I do have is messages from him that actually underpin the point prior to the incident. So what we need to do is to find out what the heck has happened, Michelle. That's what we need to get to. Just assume you must understand there is fact and there's fiction and there's allegation. Remember, there's a whole process. I will not get into the details of that because I've spoken to that in the context of the case itself. What I am feeling, though, is I don't believe political attacks and assaults must come in the way where people actually start manufacturing things online.
But you're talking about what you're describing is a vendetta of some sort against you.
It is, it's real. Last year, you would have remembered, there was a provincial conference. 10 million rand was spent in the provincial conference. And before, to get rid of a few leaders, including myself, including the former Secretary Songezo. You'd remember he was ousted at that conference. I continued I was elected unopposed. But what happened in October, the PEC, under my leadership, had to take a decision. And that decision was a PEC decision around the convicted fraudster, Mr. Snyman, which is the secretary. Now, the constitution of the ANC says you cannot stand in any position if you have been found guilty in the court of law for corruption or fraud. The deputy chairperson's provincial disciplinary committee oversee it, and they've expelled him. And since October till December, I was under severe pressure by the said individual in terms of trying to get rid of me. I can manage all of that. What I can't deal with is when people start to ask different individuals to manufacture affidavits in falsified way against other people. And I believe that this is a hard lesson for the African National Congress. What we must do is to, in a sense, pull together. And where I'm standing is currently, I am still a step-aside leader, meaning I'm not yet back. I think the reason why I've stepped aside was because I've waited for the outcome of the prosecuting authorities. They've now pronounced my fate is in the hands of the African National Congress. If the ANC says to me, I must do A, B, and C, as a deployed cadre, that I will do. But for now, I want to thank Michelle, those people that stood with me. The people, the Khoisan leadership, the religious leadership. You remember there was a time in that space where the religious people were told they can't pray for me. They didn't take sides. All that they did was compassion for a person in a situation. And I think why I'm not, in a sense, feeling that there's a victory, because it's hollow, because it was never supposed to be.
Marius, you're talking about there's now been an outcome, there's now been a decision from the prosecutions in that province. For this young lady, though, it doesn't seem to be over at all. You've seen her statement. She says, I will not take this lying down. That's a quote from her statements. Far from over from her side, it would seem.
But we knew upfront what it was about. We also know now, and therefore the objective was not met, and I understand that, and we'll deal with that in a different way.
All right, so what happens from here now and your career within the ANC? I mean, you'll come back as step-aside leader, as you call it, as Western Cape leader in the ANC. I mean, is that a wise decision ahead of the local government elections, or perhaps an early Christmas gift for the EFF and DA?
Well, it can't be a Christmas gift. The point is, under my leadership in the last 5 years, the ANC has grown. Remember, the ANC was in 2009 at 31%. Under myself and the former Secretary, Comrade Songezo, we've increased it with close to 3%, meaning we've increased with at least 80,000 votes. In the rural areas, we've increased with 10%, and 7% in the metro with around about 2%. So we know that the DA knows that it's important for me not to be in a position, because then they can have a little bit of an easy ride. That I understand. What we are saying is, I'm concerned on a different issue, because we are collective, and there's a strategical path to people's power based on reaching out to communities and civil society. I'm concerned that the last 5 months, in one's absence, one must analyze the damage that this issue has caused, and the way it was engineered, but also the general issues. Where I'm standing, Michelle, is the African National Congress will decide my fate, not myself.